I've been obsessed with entrepreneurs for years, how they think, how they build, how they recover from absolute failure. But there's one guy who stands out in a way that's hard to explain unless you've really followed him. Alex Hormozi. The first time I saw him, I thought, this dude looks like he could deadlift a minivan and calculate your net margin in the same breath. And I wasn't wrong. He built a $100 million company, not off venture capital, not off buzzwords, but off clarity offers. And this mental discipline that honestly scares me a little. Before the beard, before acquisition.com, before the viral podcast clips and TikToks quoting his every sentence, Alex was just this quietly intense guy trying to figure out how to feel okay in his own skin. Iranian immigrant parents, high expectations, zero room for mediocrity. But instead of rebelling, he went inward, obsessed over improvement. Didn't chase popularity. He chased control, not over other people, but over himself. The gym became his sanctuary. He built discipline under iron. And I don't mean casually hitting the gym. I mean treating it like a laboratory. Everything was tracked. Macros, sets, mood, thoughts. He journaled, he refined, he read. He built himself like a system. And here's what really stuck with me. While most people try to control the world, Alex focused on becoming unshakable within it. That hit me. Because I've spent way too much time trying to fix things outside of me before even understanding my own habits, patterns, or blind spots. College for Alex was a testing ground. He studied economics at Vanderbilt, but what he really studied was cause and effect in his own life. What happens if I cut sugar for 30 days? What if I wake up at 5 a.m. every day? What if I stop saying yes to anything that doesn't give compounding returns? He wasn't trying to be motivational. He had engineering freedom, one habit at a time. That mindset shaped everything. He wasn't born charismatic, he reverse engineered it. He didn't grow up with money, he figured out how to build it. Most people treat success like a ladder. He saw it like a curve. You stack the right things, habits, skills, decisions, and over time, they compound into something massive. By the time he graduated, Alex wasn't just another college kid with a degree. He had the mind of a strategist, someone who could spot opportunities, reverse engineer results, and think several steps ahead. And physically, he looked like someone who had clearly paid the price for those results. You could see it. The hours in the gym, the strict diets, the discipline. He had transformed himself, inside and out. Most people in his position would have followed the traditional route, taking a safe, stable, six-figure corporate job, settling into a predictable career, and making their parents proud. You know, something with benefits, promotions, and a 401k. But Alex, he went the other way. He did the exact thing that probably terrified his parents the most. He opened a gym. No guaranteed paycheck, no safety net. Just a dream, a lot of risk, and some gym equipment. While his friends were chasing promotions and pay raises, Alex was chasing something else entirely. Freedom, ownership, and the chance to build something of his own from the ground up. Because sometimes, the riskiest moves end up being the ones that change everything. I've seen people get romantic about starting a business, but what Alex experienced, that was a brutal introduction. He leased a space, bought equipment, set everything up, and then nothing. Nobody came. The ads didn't convert. The leads were weak. People wanted free passes, not real memberships. And that gym, it bled money. He was doing everything, front desk, classes, janitorial work, and it still wasn't working. That was his wake-up call. And honestly, it became mine too. The world doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for outcomes. Alex had all the structure in the world, but none of it mattered if he couldn't sell. That realization hit him hard. But instead of panicking, instead of whining about how no one supports small businesses, he did something I wish more entrepreneurs would do. He shut up and studied. He read copywriting books, sales psychology, Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, Chet Holmes. He studied marketing like a lifter studies form, one rep at a time until it made sense. Then it clicked. The gym wasn't the problem. The offer was, people don't want access. They want transformation. They don't want equipment. They want results. So Alex rebuilt everything around a single, bold concept, a 6-week challenge, clear outcome, money-back guarantee if you don't get the result. It was wild, it was risky, and it worked. Suddenly, people showed up. Leads came in, he started closing, and he realized this wasn't just about working hard. It was about crafting an offer so sharp, it cuts through all the noise. That changed everything for him. And honestly, it changed how I looked at business too. Because he didn't just sell a gym, he sold certainty, a clear promise, a reason to trust. Revenue started flowing, but even more importantly, his mindset shifted again. He stopped seeing his gym as this thing he ran. He started seeing it as a product, a system, one that could be replicated, packaged, scaled. And then he asked the next obvious question. What if I helped other gyms do the same thing? That's how Gym Launch was born. It was gritty, no fancy headquarters. Just him and Layla, who later became his wife and the co-architect of everything he built. They'd fly to a city, partner with a struggling yum, run the 6-week challenge, bring in $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in upfront revenue in a few weeks, and move on to the next city. I followed them during this time. They weren't just consulting, they were in the trenches, taking sales calls in cheap hotel rooms, running ads from their phones, coaching staff until their throats were raw. And it worked, over and over again. But Alex saw the next problem. Gym owners were amazing at selling the offer, but terrible at fulfillment. After that, he built Prestige Labs, a supplement company designed specifically for gyms. The whole idea was simple but smart. Gyms could basically plug it right into their business, almost like flipping a switch. It had automated reorders, so members could keep getting their supplements without anyone having to chase them down. The margins were solid, the branding was clean and simple, and everything was designed to be super easy for gym owners to sell. And here's the genius part. When a gym sold a transformation program, they weren't just selling workouts anymore. Now, they could also offer the supplements and tools people needed to actually stick to the plan and see results. And of course, every time those supplements are sold, Alex got a piece of the back end. Pretty clever, right? That right there? That was the leverage play. He wasn't just helping gyms survive anymore. He was helping them scale. And when they did, he profited. Then came Done-for-You Meals, a meal delivery service to reduce friction even more. Because here's what Alex figured out. The more friction you remove from someone's transformation, the more value you create, and the more they'll pay you for it. It wasn't about selling hard. It was about making results inevitable. Gym Launch became a machine. Prestige Labs added recurring revenue. DFYM added support. And here's what I respect the most. The whole time, Alex never raised capital. He never begged investors. When people asked why, he said something I still quote to this day, because I didn't need to. That stuck with me. Because he wasn't building for exit. He was building for freedom, for control, for a system that prints cash without burning your soul. By now, he'd helped hundreds of gyms, transformed thousands of clients, and spun up 2 multi-million-dollar companies. But he wasn't chasing fitness anymore. He wanted to scale businesses, any business, at any stage. And this is where it gets really interesting. He went on to create something called acquisition.com. Now, this isn't just some fancy business name. It's a full-on portfolio platform where he and his wife, Layla, who's also an absolute powerhouse, by the way, team up with business owners. But here's the catch. They don't just partner with any business. They specifically work with companies that are already making between $3 million and $10 million in revenue. These are businesses that have figured some things out, but are kind of stuck at that mid-level, struggling to break through to the next big stage. And that's where Alex and Layla come in. They bring everything they've learned from scaling their own companies. Years of hard-earned experience, marketing strategies, systems, operations, all of it. And they help these businesses explode in growth. We're talking about scaling from a few million to 100 million or more. Yeah, it's wild. And what's cool is they're not just doing this behind closed doors. They actually share a ton of what they do publicly, which is pretty rare at that level. And here's the beautiful part. He started giving everything away. Not in a sign up for my free webinar kind of way. I mean, actually free. YouTube videos, podcasts, tweets, long-form breakdowns, his book, full frameworks, sales scripts, offer stacks, no paywalls, no gimmicks, and it worked. Founders shared his stuff, operators implemented it, people were closing 5- and 6-figure deals using the exact words he said for free, and in return, they trusted him. That trust became attention. That attention became deal flow. That deal flow, that's how he built equity. And none of it would have worked without Layla. She's not just his partner. She's the operations genius behind the empire. While Alex built systems to print cash, Layla built systems to scale people. Together, they created this machine that doesn't just make money, it builds humans. They talk about therapy, burnout, boundaries, the hard stuff, the kind of conversations that most business podcasts conveniently skip. For Alex and Layla, winning never meant grinding yourself into dust. It meant building something that lasts without losing who you are in the process. And that's rare, so rare in a business world still obsessed with hustle porn and overnight success stories. You won't see Alex flexing cars, mansions, or Rolexes. No private jet montages, no cryptic tweets about grinding while they sleep. That's not his style. What you'll find instead is something way more valuable. Deep clarity, deep work, and a ruthless focus on fundamentals. He's obsessed with building systems that don't just grow revenue, but grow people. Founders, operators, teams. Because when the people grow, the profit follows. So yeah, I've watched Alex go from that guy who cracked gym sales to one of the clearest business minds of our time. The kind of thinker who can break down a $50 million company model on a whiteboard like he's explaining a pizza recipe, and somehow still make you feel like you can do it too. He didn't chase hype. He built repeatable value. He didn't sell dreams. He sold outcomes with receipts. And he didn't break the rules. He just mastered them and taught the rest of us how to finally play the game right. So if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or constantly spinning your wheels, maybe the answer isn't another course or funnel. Maybe it's just clarity. The kind Alex teaches. The kind that forces you to strip everything back and ask, what are you really selling? Who are you really helping? And what makes you impossible to ignore? If this story hit you the way it hit me, if you felt even one part of it land in your chest, then do what I did. Follow, watch, learn, and then build something that actually works. Because sometimes all it takes is one strategy, and the discipline to run it like your life depends on it. That's how Alex Hormozi did it. And I'll be honest with you, that's how I'm trying to do it too.